City.
President Biden's latest effort to ease gas prices. In a speech at the White House yesterday, the president urged Congress to pass a 3-month gas tax holiday. The move would suspend the federal tax on gas, which is about 18 cents a gallon. It would also temporarily suspend the tax on diesel fuel at 24 cents a gallon.
Now, I fully understand that a gas tax holiday alone is not going to fix the problem, but it will provide families some immediate relief, just a little bit of breathing room as we continue working to bring down prices for the long haul.
President Biden is also asking states to suspend their own gas taxes, which he says could bring prices down as much as $1 per gallon. That would make a difference. But many economists and lawmakers from both parties view the idea with skepticism and suggest it won't do much to help consumers. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi was non-committal on it. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell quickly dismissed the idea, calling it, quote, a silly proposal.
But he wants to cut taxes.
That's not silly.
He wants to cut taxes on...
How could that be silly?
On fuel prices when people are suffering. Why is it a silly
idea? You can't just, criticize
Why?
it.
How is there just? Can the government not take enough of Americans' money? And no, I'm serious. And when Joe Biden wants to give Americans some money back at the pump when they're suffering, why does Mitch McConnell think it's silly to help working class Americans? Because this proposal actually would help working class Americans the most. It would help middle class Americans the most.
What do Republicans have? What have they offered? What are their ideas? I'd love to know how they would save the economy. You know what? What would be great if maybe they have better ideas.
In the words of Alfie Solomon.
Do they have any?
No, Tommy. That's their idea. No, let's bring right now CNBC's Brian Sullivan. Hopefully he hasn't seen Peaky Blinders, so he doesn't know what a bad imitation of Alfie Solomon's
that was. Good.
Listen, here's my only problem.
We've got the white bread and the brown bread, Joe. What kind of bread do you want?
Okay, he knows. He knows.
That was even worse. Sorry.
No, that's okay. That's okay. So I'm curious. See, we've got a guy from Alabama and a guy from Virginia Tech trying to do Alfie Solomon accents. It's not really pretty this early. We should really wait at least until our 11 p.m. hour. We go straight through. So Brian, I like the idea of a gas tax holiday right now when people are hurting. My only problem is I don't know that it actually will get passed on to consumers because maybe people running gas stations will say, okay, well, we'll just keep the money ourselves. What say you?
Well, it's entirely possible. And also not just me, University of Pennsylvania, Wharton School of Business back in April, Joe, did a study about this and said, we could have as little as 40% that's actually passed through. So if you just do the basic math, 18 cents a gallon, let's say 40% is passed through. The average American uses 50 gallons of gasoline a month. You're looking at a household savings of about $4 a month, maybe $5 to $10 a month. I mean, I'm not saying that doesn't matter at all, but that's very small money in comparison to how everything else is going. I think the diesel side, 24 cents a gallon, not only is more relevant, it's bigger, but also diesel is far more important in the inflationary aspects, Joe and Mika, to the supply chain for everything. Trucks, rail, giant ships, right? That's all diesel fuel. So maybe if you bring that off, that we're seeing some logistics, supply chains, transportation costs come down. By the way, there's also a meeting. Jennifer Granholm, Secretary of Energy, is meeting with 7 oil and gas CEOs today. I've confirmed that meeting is scheduled to start at 11:15 and go to noon. Now, it may go longer, but that's a 45-minute meeting. As you know, Joe, it's hard to get a lot done in 45 minutes. Listen, here's the reality about energy prices right now. There's not a lot that we can do, and some fear that lowering costs may actually drive up demand because if people say, well, it's a little cheaper now, why don't I get on the road? By the way, I do have some breaking news you may be interested in regarding Kentucky, Mitch McConnell's home state. Century Aluminum, which is a big aluminum company there, just moments ago, announcing they're idling one of their aluminum factories because the price of power is too high, and 600 people are going to be laid off from that Century Aluminum factory. Unfortunately, this is military-grade aluminum as well, Joe. So here's the real-world impact of higher energy costs. 600 Kentuckians losing their good jobs at the Century Aluminum factory. Hopefully it'll come back online soon.
Yeah, that's brutal.
rough.
We'll keep an eye on that. Jonathan Lemire, the president's decision to go ahead with this gas tax holiday, some Democratic criticism to go along with Republican criticism, some criticism from the Treasury Department. To Joe's point, the concern that Steny Hoyer voiced yesterday was this is going to make oil companies a lot of money. We're not sure it makes it all the way down to the consumer. How did the White House arrive at this?
Yeah, this took months of deliberation. This was something the president initially opposed, and he came to this idea sort of reluctantly. We heard him talk about how he feels like he knows it won't make a big difference. He has said that. He's candid about it. But he feels like every little bit helps. And it's also important, the White House decided they just need to be showing Americans that they're trying. But there is a very real possibility this will never come to be. It is certainly Republicans don't seem inclined to support it. Democrats as well, feeling it will deplete the highway fund. That's where the gas tax goes to keep that coffers full. And they don't think this will make much of a difference. The Wall Street Journal just actually did a good story this week, talking to people in Connecticut, a state that already waived the gas tax. Consumers there didn't notice a difference. They don't think this will be much of anything, but they feel like they need to just sort of show is that prices rising across the board, not just at the gas pump. We know the president, when he goes to Europe next week, will talk again about the impact that the ban on Russian oil energy has had on this, rising prices. But this is them just sort of scrambling for ideas. There'll be others that come down later this summer.
Yeah, Joe, I just got back a couple days in California. There were sevens on the board, $7 a gallon in some places, $6.99 in others. That's not just we're not going on that road trip that summer. That's I can't commute to work. It's unsustainable.
Yeah. Yeah, it is unsustainable. Michael, wanted to ask you a quick political question. And as we continue to talk about the differences between Republicans and Democrats, if Chuck Schumer had said suspending the gas tax during a time of massive inflation, when middle class and working class Americans were working, Republicans would take that quote and they would hammer him and every Democrat for months. Mitch McConnell just said that cutting taxes, federal taxes, is a silly idea. That cutting taxes during the biggest inflationary surge in gas prices across America, with number one issue for Americans right now, by the way, is a silly idea. This is a difference between Republicans and Democrats because, I guarantee you, if it was when I was in Congress and a Democratic leader had said this, I would be giving a speech on the floor and every other Republican member would be giving a speech on the floor, and we would never let in. There are people out there who say, but this is just not a big deal. It is a big deal because this adds up cumulatively, and it just shows Democrats don't know how to fight.
No, they don't.
They need to learn.
It's